free until, no, sorry, this one. We read text 13. So I just, it's not on the board. Yadeshamam rakshatu machyamatir uttir yato kanebyosh varunasya bhashat stadeshamayavato vamanubhyat tledikrama kekvatu vishvarupa jalesu in the water. Ma, me. Rakshatu, protect. Machyamurti, the Supreme Lord in the form of a great fish.
The Supreme Lord in the form of a great fish.
Yada Ganebhya, from the fierce aquatic animals. Varunasya, of the demigod known as Varuna. Bhasa, from the arresting rope. Stalesu, on the land. Mayavatu, the merciful form of the Lord as a dwarf. Vamana, anyone can guess?
Lord
May he protect. Trivikram, whose three gigantic steps took the three worlds from Bali.
Three gigantic steps took the three worlds from Bali.
Three worlds from Bali. In the sky. Avatu, may the Lord protect. Vishvarupa, the gigantic universal form. May the Lord who assumes the body of a great fish protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of the demigod Varuna. By expanding his illusory energy, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf, Vamana. May Vamana protect me on the land. Since the gigantic form of the Lord Vishvarup conquers the three worlds, may he protect me in the sky. Purport. The mantra seeks the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the water, land and sky, in its incarnation as the fish, Vamanadev and Vishvarup. Om Gyanatiranasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhudevacha Patitanamyo Vaishnaveyo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauranga Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yadeshamam rakshatu machyamurtir yato kunibhyo varunasya pashat Shtaveshamayavatu vamanubhya trivikrama kevatu vishvarupa. May the Lord who assumes the body of a great fish protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of the demigod Varuna. By expanding his illusory energy, the Lord assumes the form of a dwarf Vamana. May Vamana protect me on the land. Since the gigantic form of the Lord Vishvarup conquers the free world, may he protect me in the sky. So this chapter is called Narayana Kavacha, Shield.
Narayana Kavacha?
Shield. And it's a continuation from the last chapter where Indra, he accidentally offended Brihaspati, his guru. And that had some consequence. And it always had. And even though demigods Indra, he knows, but he was completely absorbed in his own worship. So when Brihaspati entered the arena, Indra didn't get up on offer obeisances. And it's just mentioned just shortly after, very shortly after, it's not like next day, or shortly after, oops, that was a mistake. But Brihaspati is already gone. So he go out searching for Brihaspati, but Brihaspati hides. He wants to teach Indra a lesson. And that's really Guru. Guru is here to teach us some lessons. Sometimes by words and sometimes by experience. So he couldn't find Brihaspati. So in that sense he couldn't beg his forgiveness. So gradually he lost all his powers. And when Indra loses his powers, all the demigods lose their powers. So the demons they heard, and they started worshipping Sukracharya. Very intensely they started intensifying the worship of their guru. And then they got all these powers, and then they attacked the demigods. And the demigods is become very afraid. And have they attacked the demigods already? Or is it just they're afraid now? Have they attacked the demons already?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have attacked and conquered.
Yeah.
So now Indra he seeks protection from Brahma, if I know correctly, and then ultimately from Vishnu. And Vishnu he says, okay, or Brahma is saying directly, get a spiritual master. Right? Now you lost your spiritual master, better get a new one. So he says, get the son of Trust of Vishnu. So Vishnu he agrees to become the guru, even though he's very young. He agrees to become the guru of the demigods. And he offers all these obeisances in the fire, and he gives Lord Indra in the Ryan Kavacha. And that we can see the whole episode here. The difference is really the demigods are karma misrabhaktas. So they constantly get themselves in trouble, constantly, but often, or at least when they get in trouble, we hear about it. We get in trouble all the time, but nobody hears about it. But when Indra gets in trouble, the whole world knows, because it's in the Bhagavatam, because he's such an important personality. So when he gets in trouble, what does he do? He takes shelter of superior authorities. He will take shelter ultimately of Vishnu. So that's really the huge difference between the demigods and the demons. Because both have material desires. Both are like living in a similar way. It's not like the demons are always like very evil. Of course that's the nature of a demon, but it's just a materialistic person. But in one sense, with all respect, the demigods are also materialistic persons, because they have desires, they have material desires. And in that sense you can say they're neophytes. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport to the 7th chapter where Krishna speaks about the 4 kind of people who surrenders. Chatur Vidyabhyanamam, Nasu Kriti Nodina, Artha Dikyasu Arthati, Ghana Chambharatashakam. That Krishna he makes it clear that the 4 kinds of people who surrender. The one who is interested in liberation from material suffering, Arti. One wants wealth, Arti. And one who is Jigyasu, one who is curious, and Vijnana. So these people will approach Krishna, Prabhupada says, when they are in need. Because they approach Krishna for something. It's not like Saranagati. Oh my Lord, you can do with me whatever you want. That's what the Tamil was saying. That's not their mood. Their mood is more, okay, we're in trouble here, we know who can help us. So that kind of mission. And Prabhupada mentioned they are neophytes. They are neophytes. But they are, so to say, good neophytes, because they approach the Lord. Whereas the demons, they will take shelter of themselves. Right? The spiritual master, that's saying themselves. Their demonic spiritual master. Shukra Acharya. Anyone knows what that means?
Seminal guru.
Yeah. So he's just more or less, that's what he's teaching them. How to enjoy the senses. Whereas the demigods, they also want to enjoy their senses, but in a more regulated way, and when they get in trouble, they will seek shelter of Krishna. So that's Kanishta. And Prabhupada gives even an example of the great personalities like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj also wanted artha. He wanted wealth. So Prabhupada says at that point, not when we hear about him later in the Bhagavatam, then it's about Bhagavad. But to start with, he's a Kanishta. He's a Kanishta because he approaches Krishna for artha, for wealth. And Caitanya, he's in need, he's distressed. So he approaches Krishna and Krishna comes and saves him. Vishnu comes and saves him. And sages, Nanashranya and ultimately Sukadeva Goswami, they want to have something. And Krishna mentioned of all them, who is the best Jnani? Why? Because it's not an ordinary Jnani. It's a Jnani who is a devotee, but a neophyte devotee. So he approaches Krishna to have something, but that's transcendental knowledge. But then Krishna says, even for him, even though he's mostly a Jnani, Krishna says, still bahunam jamanamante, jnanam patanti, vasudeva savanti samahatma saduravaha. That after many births, bahunam jamanam, after many births, bahunam jamanam anti after. Jnanam, such a jnani, jnanam mahaprabhatanti, is the representation. Vasudeva is Saravati, knowing that Vasudeva is ultimately everything. So that's the kind of jnana we're speaking about. Mahatmas, such a Mahatma, Sudurlabha, is very rare. So they are all neophytes. They are all getting to the platform, but you are getting to the platform of pure devotional service by following the process of bhakti. So what we can learn from this is we should come to the point where we have no material desires. That really should be what we are striving for. But we might still have material desires, but in one sense it's not an impediment as such. In one sense it's not an impediment, because if we just continue seriously, the only problem is if we start making a philosophy out of it, justifying our mind. But there's nothing like, because Krishna says it's impossible to conquer mind. But he also says, but Mayami Tantarantiti, those who really surrender, they can easily cross that, easily. So our duty is just to follow the process of bhakti, and gradually we come to the point where we will constantly take shelter of Krishna. Not only when we are in trouble, but constantly, as we hear here. Then they say, may Vamana protect me on the earth, may Matsya protect me in the water, and what was it? May Vishvaru protect me in the sky. So the universal form. May he protect me in the sky. So we hear similarly from Hiranyakashipu. How is this? We hear similarly from Mother Yashoda in the Krishna book. Mother Yashoda. We hear from Mother Yashoda that when after Krishna he was, I think it's in the pastime, if I remember correctly, of killing Puttana. Afterwards, Mother Yashoda, she's saying all this, may Krishna be protected from the earth, may Krishna protect me, all these, and she chant all these mantras and put all these pious, what you call these, good, auspicious, evoking signs on Krishna's body. So he might be protected. So it's natural for a devotee to be asked for protection. And actually our acharyas say, the verse we just half quoted, that Krishna says, names pure devotional service, what is it like? Anyabhlasita sunyam. And there it says, Anyabhlasita sunyam, completely void of any ulterior motive. But our acharyas explain it's not like, for instance, if we want protection, because that's an ulterior motive. We're in danger. And naturally we'll see, oh, Krishna, protect me. We are driving a car and just about to drive over a cliff, or somebody's getting close to an accident. So, Krishna, please protect me. So that's an ulterior motive. That's a motive just to protect ourselves. But Krishna says that's still what our Acharya says. This is still within the realm of bhakti, because it's natural. It's like in it's impossible not to be afraid when something like that happens, unless one is on a very, very elevated level. So in that sense, it's natural to seek Krishna's protection. So that's still within the realm of pure devotional service. But if you ask Krishna for all kind of other things, that is not within the realm of pure devotional service. It will still be devotional service, but it is not categorized as Uttama Bhakti. And Uttama Bhakti is the only thing that can ultimately give us what we are looking for. So as long as we have these ulterior motives, as we hear again and again from the demigods, because they always have these motives, they are never satisfied. They never come to a point where there's complete relief. So this happens again and again and again. That's why we have all these stories in the Bhagavatam. And Krishna is just constantly there, very patiently. Every time he just, this is what you want, okay, I'll save you. And then some time goes in again, like, Krishna, I know we were worshipping so sincerely, but now we need you again. Krishna comes, okay, I'll save you. So imagine somebody comes to you and kidnap your family and kidnap all your friends and keep them away from you for a year. What would you do? You would immediately go out to kill them or call the police or hate you or never see you again. But Krishna is constantly, when Brahma steals the cowboys and all the calves, Krishna just come back and he teaches Brahma a lesson by getting all the cowboys and all the calves emanating from Krishna's body. And then all of a sudden they stand there in 4 Vishnu forms. And all the energies are there, the Astra cities are there, and all the 24 elements are there just worshipping Krishna in these forms. And Brahma sees this, and now he understands, okay, this is really Krishna. And Brahma comes down and offers Krishna and says, Krishna, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And Krishna just immediately forgives him. Krishna actually just plays a little with Brahma. Because Krishna, he does all this, the whole Yoga Maya setup disappears. And then Krishna is just standing there again with a little fruit salad in his left hand. And Brahma sees this. And still Brahma just falls down like a golden rod and offers his obeisances. Because now he knows he's Krishna. So to start with, he kidnapped all Krishna's cows, first of all calves. And then afterwards, he kidnapped Krishna's friends. But Krishna just comes like, okay, you made a mistake, I forgive you. Or somebody who comes and tries to kill your whole family. So Indra in Yajna, when Krishna made his father not worshipping Indra anymore, then Indra immediately became very, very angry, and he got all the summer target clouds, and they came and they attacked Vrindavan. They wanted to kill, Indra he actually wanted to kill all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. For 7 days he gave everything he had. The summer target clouds, they became exhausted. Indra himself became exhausted. And when Indra saw not even a blade of grass was hurt in Vrindavan, nothing happened, because Krishna was protecting him. And then Indra comes down and offers obeisance, and Krishna just said, okay, don't do that again. So that's Krishna. Krishna, extremely patient and extremely tolerant and extremely merciful. So that's what's happening here again and again with the demigods. They're constantly not neglecting Krishna, because we know Indra will every day offer worship of Vishnu. But they will not seek his shelter. They will not really seek his shelter. And that is the difference. So a devotee, a pure devotee, he will constantly be there. He will constantly seek shelter, Krishna's shelter. In good time, he will be very afraid, because he thinks, what will happen next? So Krishna, please protect me. Now everything is going nicely, but this is even more dangerous. Like one Swami says in one lecture, that Krishna admires is constantly firing at us with her weapons. She's constantly firing. But when she's not firing, that means she's trying to find an aim. Where's the weak spots? So when the pure devotee thinks, no, nothing is happening, he knows, okay, it's only due to Krishna's mercy. Only Krishna is really protecting me. That's why this is happening. But it may not last. So Krishna, please protect me. Rakshishyachi Vishvasu. Of the 6 items of full surrender, Sharanagati, Rakshashishyachi Vishvasu is constantly seeking to protect you Lord as the protector, seeing Krishna as the protector. So that's really what it means, and that's what Krishna is really looking for from us. That we are constantly seeking that protection, and constantly understanding He's not once in a while giving us protection, He's giving us protection every second. Because we are constantly being bombarded. Maya is constantly attacking us. I had full realization of that before I went to India. And Maya was just attacking so many ways. And how it's just He can be so extremely clever. That He can easily conquer us. He can break us like nothing, we can break a little branch. So He can break us in a second. While Krishna is constantly protecting us. That's the famous story in Mahabharata. After the whole war is finished, Krishna says to Arjuna, you get out of the chariot. Arjuna goes out of the chariot and the whole chariot explodes and is burned to ashes. And Arjuna said, what is that? All the astras, all the weapons they fired upon you. Krishna says to Arjuna, I protected you. But now there's no longer need for any protection. So that's what really is happening. And when we see it like that, we will constantly be grateful to Krishna. Because we can Purusham Nishu, we cannot do anything without Krishna's mercy. So the only thing, the difference between a Karma Vishwa Bhakta and a pure devotee is realizations. You have realized this. I'm completely dependent on Krishna. And Krishna is so extremely merciful, even though I try to kill him. Like Indra and Brahma try to steal away all his calves and boyfriends. And Indra trying to kill him. We are constantly trying to kill Krishna by impersonal philosophy. By Mayavada philosophy, saying, like indirectly in our activities, in our dealings with this Ishigonanta and the deities, our dealings with the holy name, we are constantly saying, Krishna, I don't believe you. We're constantly saying, by not really giving our heart the full thing all the time. Because if we had full realization, we would do that. If we actually knew Krishna was there, we would give everything all the time. And that's what Krishna is waiting for. That's what pure bhakti means. And that's the point where Krishna gives us full belief. Then Maya is no longer needed. But until then, Maya is needed to get us to that point. So that way, Maya is our friend. Maya really helps us by constantly putting us in situations where we're suffering. Because when we're suffering, like Queen Kunti is saying, it's Vipadana Santa Tat Sasras Tat 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 Jagat Guru. Bhavatu Darshanam Yachya Apunam Bhava Darshanam. That Queen Kunti is praying after the whole thing is finished, the war is finished, Krishna is saved and Krishna is on his way, just about to leave for Dwaraka. And Queen Kunti is coming out crying, tears in her eyes, crying. Krishna, how can you leave us now? It's now we really need your protection. But now when everything is nice and cozy, everything is neat and clean, now we really need your protection because now we'll forget you. And when we have your darshan, apana bhava darshan, that means we will not have darshan of repeated birth and death. So, again, we should not just seek Krishna's shelter when we so-called need it, because we need it all the time. So we should constantly seek that shelter. We should constantly be in a mood of saranagati. I'm completely dependent upon you, my Lord, because I can't do anything. And that's reality. And that's really a pure devotee. He sees reality because he has realization. Like when we hear about his knowledge in 4th chapter, and Krishna says, Tabiri Pranipati, Upadeksham Titi Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshanam. That's their qualification, Tattva Darshanam. They have seen the truth. They have seen the truth and therefore they can give it to us. So a pure devotee, he has seen the truth. That means he has experience, he has full realization of the truth. Janma karma chamidiyam evam yogi tattva. That Krishna says, one who in truth understands my transcendental janma karma in full, my birth and my activities in full, he'll go back to Godhead. Otherwise not. So that's what it takes. We need to in full realize Krishna's janma and karma, and full means to our capacity. Because Krishna says, nobody knows me. Mam to be no question. But we can know Krishna to our capacity, but only by Krishna's mercy. It's Krishna who's giving it. We cannot say it, we cannot, by any means, we cannot get to Krishna. Only by one means, that's bhakti. Bhakti tvanya nena sakyam. Ahami bhakti tu vinodima. Yatum drashtum tatvina praveshtum chapter. 11th chapter, Krishna says that only by pure, unallied devotional service can I be seen as I am standing here before you and experience directly. That because they're not, they're trying, the Prophet says that they're trying to see Krishna in the external world, and they think it's very valuable. They do not approach Vishnu, they do not try to seek Vishnu. Because they're stupid and they're living in the Bahia, in the external world. They're like a blind person following another blind person. And Prophet says that will lead them in the ditch, where it's just suffering in the chill ditch. Because we are following blind persons. That the course or the ropes of material existence is very, very difficult to overcome. Very difficult. So we are bound up by the ropes of material nature, the gunas. But we can easily come free. I am in Tantarati, by surrendering fully to Krishna, by depending fully on Krishna all the time, by seeking Krishna's shelter, not only when we are in so-called need. Any comments?
Yes, you made a very good point. That you were saying that you can't speculate. You have to follow the process. And you just put yourself in the process. And because it's like that, a brahmachari, he studies and he preaches. And if he just continues on that path, then he will be clean. Yeah. Sooner or later. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's inevitable. But what are we preaching?
What are we preaching?
And what standards are we setting by our behavior? Mm. This is important, so we should be introspective.
Mm. Yeah, we should definitely find out what is my duty and how to perform it properly. And that's in accordance with authorities, spiritual masters. They can tell us what to do and what not to do. Tasmat, that only by the scriptures can we know what is right and wrong.
Yeah, and by also because scriptures can be often used for any purpose. Any purpose you want, the scripture is there and they will serve you like this. But you have to actually hear it from devotees, because the devotees, they will give you their understanding. Of course, there are some senior devotees who are actually senior in experience and understanding of scripture, then they can pass on that information. Mm. That's so important that we hear from devotees, because that will give us a possibility to form our personality. And we have to not just read from a book, because reading from a book is theoretical, but hearing and preaching, hearing from devotees and preaching, that is practical. Mm-hmm. You hear others' realizations, and then you give your own realizations, and then you practice. Then it becomes practical, and then it becomes real.
The Prabhupada was asked, there's two kinds of Bhagavatas, there's the book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavata, and the most important one is the person Bhagavata, because it can pull your ear. Mm. So that's really the duty of the spiritual masters, that they can tell us, you need to do this, and they can pull our ear. And get us out of this complacent mode that's so easily to